It's the last week of the NBA regular season. Most teams, 4 games still remaining, some teams 3. 5 games on tonight's NBA card. Let's break them all down. What do you say? Teddy's Tips for Monday, powered by WagerTalk. And we'll start like we do pretty much on every show. We're going to talk about what I call the wise guy totals. These are games that got popped overnight, and I record usually between 9 and 10 a.m. Pacific time. So between noon and 1 Eastern time. And that gives enough time in the morning to see is there any head fakes. Sometimes you see the overnights, when the limits are lower, people bet one way. And then when the limits are higher and available everywhere the next morning, you see what are called, head fakes. The fact that I do this show when I do it ensures that the head fakes aren't in the piece of the equation when it comes to wise guy totals. And there are 4 worth noting for today, and they're all moving in the same direction. Unders. Last night, I saw the Pistons and the Magic, 225.5, the prevailing total. Now I'm seeing 223s. So sharp money on the under for Orlando and Detroit. There's more to that story. I'll talk about it in just a minute when it comes to impact injuries for today. But also worth noting, the Knicks and the Hawks. That total was 229.5 last night. Now I'm seeing 227s out there in the betting market. So again, we're not talking about crazy moves, but when the broader betting market moves 2 or 3 points in an NBA game, it's worth noting. That's sharp money. That's wise guy money. Cleveland, Memphis. This is the biggest one. What's the wise guy total of the day? That will be Cleveland, Memphis under. That total last night was sitting at 238.5. And this morning, we're seeing 233.5, 234s out there. Some of that has to do with the injury factor. Evan Mobley expected to play for Cleveland. And when Mobley's in the lineup, Mobley and Allen both, they're going to affect the totals as much as the sides for Cleveland when they have both guys available. Often see under money come in for the Cavs. You can't drive in the paint against them. And geez, it's not like Memphis drives in the paint a whole lot anyway. That's a really limited roster the Grizzlies are bringing out right now. They're going to get dominated on the glass. And I tried to make a case for Memphis plus the points today. I don't want any part of Cleveland in this point spread range, especially on the second of back-to-back. So I tried hard to make a case for Memphis today, and I just could not get to the betting window. With the Grizzlies, sharp money has come for the under. Again, Cleveland and Memphis total down to, I'm seeing 233.5, 234 right now from a 238.5 last night. Last but not least, one more under has come in the overnight hours. That would be Portland and Denver. That was sitting as high as 241 at the open last night. I was, and that was actually one game when I was tracking last night. There was a real variance between books. It was a 240, 241 over here and a 240 over there and a 239 over here. And that doesn't, you don't usually find live middles when it comes to NBA total. You might see a half point or a point, but you don't usually see 2 points. And that was the case last night. So there was a period in which could have got some real good numbers for this under. Nonetheless, 237.5, 238 right now, down from the 239.5 / 240 / 240.5 last night. So under money for Orlando, Detroit, Knicks, Hawks, Cavs, Grizzlies, and Blazers, Nuggets for Monday night. Those are the wise guy totals. And on a 5-game card, we got 4 wise guy totals. Worth noting, it's not like the Sharps aren't betting the final week of the NBA regular season. I also want to talk about one wise guy side. I don't really talk about who the sharp money. And frankly, from a side standpoint, if you're backing the wise guys, when it comes to most of those sharp money moves are based on injuries, the vast majority. So when there's not one that's based on injury, at least not one that I can see, I'll talk about it. And that'd be the Blazers today. Portland has taken the money against Denver. That game, 8.5 last night. I'm seeing 7.5 right now. And it's not injury related. That is an opinion move. Of course, the Nuggets are coming off a pretty huge win in overtime against San Antonio, snapping the Spurs' long streak. In theory, it's an exhale game for Denver. And the markets think that Portland's played well of late. They've certainly played good defense of late, although they haven't faced the toughest of competition. The market's expecting the Blazers to hang in there at Denver tonight. So we've seen Portland money and under money in that ball game. Let's look at the Odds Logic live odds screen right now and talk about an angle for today. That'd be the Knicks and the Hawks. And by the way, guys, real simple. All right, I'm I try not, this is a 10-minute show. We're in and out. So I don't have a lot of time to hype, and I'm not going to hype. You guys know who I am, Ted Savransky, Teddy Covers. You find my stuff at WagerTalk.com. I talk about one product that we use every day, Odds Logic Live Odds Screen. Get a free trial, oddslogic.com/Teddy. And I do talk about some of the promotions at WagerTalk, like buy the rest of the regular season or buy the playoff and get the rest of the regular season for free. That's discounted $199 every play right now through the end of the NBA Finals. Nothing more to buy. All 5% is included. So I will hype a little bit, but on a 10-minute show, a minute's worth of hype, not much. Anyhow, oddslogic.com/Teddy for that free 7-day trial. And of course, wagertalk.com or wt.buzz/TC to visit my homepage for 3-pack. Today I'm playing NBA, MLB, and of course the national championship game in college hoops for tonight. Let's talk about the angle of the day. And the reason this is important to look at the Odds Logic Live Odds Screen, because this is an angle that it plays to talk about the Knicks as underdogs. The Knicks on the road as road underdogs. Knicks right now in Atlanta. The Odds Logic Live Odds Screen says the Knicks plus 1.5 in that ball game. Total sitting at 227/227.5. We have seen money for the under. And when it comes to profitability, full season, angle of the day, the Knicks are number 29 in profitability out of 30 NBA teams in the road underdog role. This has been a dismal role for them. Oh, by the way, they're 1-8 ATS their last 9 road games. They've been clobbered repeatedly on the highway. The Hawks, they're 18-2 straight up their last 20 games. They're 13-0 straight up their last 13 at home. Hawks minus 1.5. Hawks money line certainly plays into both of these angles. Knicks bad as road dogs. Knicks bad on the road. Hawks winning at home. Hawks winning in every role right now. Hawks money line would certainly come into play, angle of the day wise, for Monday. Certainly that's the way the information points. I said I'd talk a little bit more about Orlando and Detroit at the top, and I'll do that right here. That would be Franz Wagner, who has a late scratch. And Wagner, when Orlando has Wagner playing the way he's supposed to play, as an elite scorer, as a guy that can penetrate basically any defense, a guy that can kick it out, he's a real impact player. He's 2 games back in, and now he's already scratched for his second back-to-back for the Magic. I'm not surprised that he scratched. But Wagner has been scratched for the Magic today. We've seen money coming for Detroit as a result. Pistons now minus 3.5 on the road. They were minus 2.5 before the Wagner injury was reported. One more thing to talk about on today's show. And again, my goal is to, guys, get you in and out. I'm not here to waste anybody's time. And I appreciate, the comments. Every day I'm getting comments, thank you. And I'll do my best to answer them day in, day out. I can't promise I'll do every comment every day, but I'm getting in there multiple times a day to respond. If you guys have questions, if you guys have something you want me to talk about on the show tomorrow, get in the comments, guys. I look at them. I pay attention. I respond. So, and of course, we appreciate the likes very much. We appreciate the follows. 250,000 of you now following us, or close to it, on WagerTalk TV. Get instant alerts when these videos go live. Like, comment, follow. Thank you. All right. Last thing to talk about on today's show. And this is one that I don't do that often. All right. Because fading the public in the NBA doesn't work. That said, when you talk about some of these games, and the one thing that has a chance to work when it comes to fading the public in the NBA is the real outliers. The ones where you're getting 70, 75%, 80% of the public on one side. And you just don't see that many of them in the association. You really don't. Even your games with Brooklyn, you're going to get, 35% of the people that want to play the Nets or the Wizards or some of these awful teams. But there's one tonight that does stand out. This is about 3 out of 4 have fallen in love with the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs are only 8.5. And that number's like, really? I went back, but then again, what's my number? My number in the game's only 9. So it's not like I'm way off the market on this. But at first glance, the way Philadelphia's played for the last 2 months, you're like, really? 7? That looks short. The Spurs are the public play. The 76ers, who should be close to 100% tonight, are the anti-public play. If you want to fade the public, take Philadelphia plus the points. Thanks for watching, guys. Best of luck tonight. Enjoy the national championship game and all the NBA. We'll do it again tomorrow, right here Teddy's Tips on WagerTalk TV. Cheers.